could have been the original attempt, one of the original attempts. I really would like to see what's at the bottom of that shaft.
Based on numerous recent discoveries this year, the team has good reason to believe that this 80-foot deep, decayed wooden structure may be connected to the original money pit.
Oak Island, a place where every shovel strike uncovers a new mystery. Yet the ultimate truth has remained hidden for more than 200 years. Countless treasure hunters have searched these grounds. Millions of dollars have been spent, tunnels have been discovered, maps have been studied, and theories have been debated. But one location was considered too dangerous to explore, a tunnel so unstable that experts ordered it sealed forever. Today, that forbidden tunnel is finally being opened. As the heavy lock is removed, a rush of cold air escapes from the darkness below. The silence inside feels unnatural, as if this passage has remained untouched for centuries. Early analysis suggests the tunnel lies nearly 100 feet underground, and the materials used in its construction may date back to before 1600. If true, this changes everything, because this is not a natural cave. Someone built it. Someone wanted it hidden. What Rick Lagina discovers inside is even more disturbing. Strange stone symbols carved into the walls, engineered water control channels, and traces of metal, unlike anything expected in an ordinary underground passage. Some researchers believe this forgotten system could lead to a discovery worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Others believe it could rewrite a chapter of history itself. And before we uncover what lies beyond this sealed entrance, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because the evidence you're about to see may be the most important discovery ever made on Oak Island. Because hidden at the end of this forbidden tunnel may not be a treasure chest, but a secret capable of changing everything we thought we knew. The story of excavations on Oak Island stretches back more than 2 centuries. Over the years, explorers uncovered countless shafts, tunnels, and underground passages. Yet, among all those discoveries, one particular tunnel remained largely forgotten. Early records mentioned it only briefly, and because there was little evidence to support its importance, most researchers ignored it. Attention remained focused on the famous excavation sites, while this mysterious passage slowly disappeared from public discussion. According to historical notes, the tunnel was located not far from the island's primary digging area. Workers repeatedly reported unusual ground behavior in that section. Tools driven into the soil would sometimes drop unexpectedly, as if a hidden chamber or hollow space existed beneath the surface. These strange incidents left both laborers and engineers searching for answers. Interest in the location resurfaced during several private investigations conducted throughout the 1970s and 1980s. Those teams recorded unusual conditions. Even limited excavations seemed to destabilize the ground, and sudden changes in water pressure were frequently observed. At the time, available technology could not provide a clear picture of what lay underground. Faced with significant uncertainty and growing safety concerns, investigators decided the risks outweighed the potential rewards. Years later, advancements in underground imaging technology allowed researchers to take another look. What they found renewed interest immediately. Beneath the surface were formations that did not resemble ordinary natural caves. Instead, the structures appeared organized and deliberate, suggesting the possibility of a man-made passage hidden deep below the island. The discovery only deepened the mystery. Specialists warned that any major excavation near the area could trigger a catastrophic collapse. There were also serious concerns about rapid flooding. With both dangers becoming impossible to ignore, officials eventually classified the location as extremely hazardous. The tunnel was sealed and effectively abandoned. For Rick Lagina, however, Oak Island has never been simply about treasure. It represents a lifelong quest for answers. Every clue, every failed excavation, and every unexplained discovery has pushed him closer to the truth he has spent years pursuing. When newly uncovered evidence began matching forgotten reports about the sealed tunnel, Rick realized he was facing a decision few people would willingly make. Opening the tunnel would involve enormous risk. This wasn't merely another excavation project. The safety of the entire team was at stake. A single mistake could lead to structural failure, flooding, or a situation that spiraled beyond control. Most people would have chosen to walk away. Experts repeatedly advised caution. Some warned that unstable ground could collapse without warning. Others raised concerns about dangerous air conditions and the possibility of sudden water intrusion. Every meeting surrounding the project carried a sense of urgency. Everyone understood that the outcome could change everything. Rick reflected on the many years he had devoted to Oak Island. He had experienced disappointment more times than he could count. Promising leads had vanished. Exciting discoveries had often ended in dead ends. Yet he also understood a difficult truth. If he turned back now, the island's greatest secret might remain hidden forever. History was filled with stories of people who abandoned their search before reaching the answer. This choice was about more than curiosity. It involved his brother's faith in the mission, the dedication of the team, and the expectations of millions who had followed the journey. Rick knew opportunities like this rarely come twice. If the tunnel remained closed, the chance to uncover its secrets might disappear forever. As plans to investigate the tunnel moved forward, specialists began issuing increasingly serious warnings. Geologists were among the first to express concern. Their studies revealed unusually weak and unstable soil beneath the site. According to their analysis, even limited excavation could trigger a collapse. The tunnel itself appeared vulnerable, and some experts believed it might fail at any moment. Engineers shared similar concerns. They explained that significant pressure was already acting on the structure. Disturbing the balance could cause widespread damage. Many of the original wooden supports had deteriorated with age, while sections of the stone walls showed visible signs of weakness. One incorrect decision could have devastating consequences. But perhaps the greatest concern involved water. Researchers suspected that the tunnel might connect to a network of ancient flood channels or underground waterways. If even one barrier failed, seawater could rush inside with tremendous force. In the worst-case scenario, the entire passage could fill with water within minutes, leaving little or no time for escape. Safety specialists also focused on another hidden danger: air quality. At extreme depths, oxygen levels can change unexpectedly. There were additional fears that toxic gases might have accumulated underground over many years. Without proper monitoring, anyone entering the tunnel could face life-threatening conditions. With every new warning, tension continued to grow. The team found itself caught between two powerful possibilities. On one side stood the chance to uncover one of history's greatest mysteries. On the other stood the very real possibility of disaster. As investigations continued, the tunnel itself became even more fascinating. Preliminary measurements suggested a depth ranging from roughly 90 to 110 feet below the surface. What researchers encountered at that depth looked nothing like a natural cave. The walls appeared remarkably straight and uniform. Distinct stone layers lined the passage, and many sections showed signs of careful construction rather than random geological activity. The stones seemed deliberately positioned. In several places, they had been shaped to fit together with surprising precision. The arrangement suggested skilled workmanship and intentional design rather than natural formation. Researchers also discovered aging wooden support structures throughout the tunnel. These supports appeared to have been installed long ago, raising even more questions about who built the passage, why it was created, and what secrets might still be hidden beyond its walls. Despite surviving for centuries, many of the tunnel's original support structures remain standing today. The ancient wooden beams have undoubtedly weakened with age, yet they continue to hold the passage together. The fact that such an old underground structure has endured for so long is remarkable in itself. The tunnel's layout is equally intriguing. Rather than descending in a straight line, it bends and curves at several points. In certain sections, the passage suddenly expands, almost as if it was intentionally designed to reach a specific destination. This unusual design strongly suggests that the tunnel served a deliberate purpose. Natural caves are typically uneven, unpredictable, and irregular in shape. This tunnel, however, tells a different story. Its walls and ceiling appear surprisingly consistent and balanced. Because of this, many experts believe the passage was carefully engineered rather than naturally formed. Some researchers even suspect it could be part of a much larger underground network hidden beneath Oak Island. Another fascinating detail involves the evidence of water movement inside the tunnel. Several stones show signs of long-term erosion in very specific directions. To investigators, this does not look like random water damage. Instead, it appears that water may have been intentionally redirected through the passage. If that interpretation is correct, the tunnel may have served more than one purpose. It may have functioned not only as a route underground, but also as part of a sophisticated defensive system. When all of these clues are combined, the depth, the construction methods, the unusual layout, and the evidence of controlled water flow, it becomes clear that this is far from an ordinary tunnel. For many experts, it represents both the greatest danger and the greatest opportunity ever discovered on Oak Island. The next major breakthrough came when researchers began analyzing materials recovered from inside the passage. Among the most important discoveries were pieces of wood and carefully shaped stone. Scientists collected small samples from the wooden supports, while taking great care not to damage the fragile structure. These were not random fragments of timber. They appeared to have been intentionally installed to reinforce the tunnel, providing strong evidence of human construction. To determine their age, specialists conducted carbon dating tests on the wood. The results stunned the team. Preliminary findings suggested that some of the timber could date back to the 16th century, or perhaps even earlier. If accurate, this would place the construction of the tunnel before the year 1600. That single discovery dramatically changed the conversation surrounding Oak Island. The stonework provided additional clues. Many stones displayed clear signs of cutting and shaping. Tool marks were visible across several surfaces, indicating that they had not been broken naturally. Instead, they appeared to have been deliberately crafted and fitted together by skilled builders. Experts noted that working stone with such precision would have required significant effort, planning, and knowledge for that period in history. This was not the work of people acting without purpose. Whoever built this tunnel invested considerable resources into its construction. The findings immediately raised a new set of questions. If the tunnel truly predates the 1600s, who built it? Why were they here? And what exactly were they trying to protect or conceal? Rather than solving the mystery, the dating results only made it deeper. What the evidence did establish was that this was not a modern structure. Some researchers believe it may have been designed to conceal something valuable. If that theory is correct, then protective mechanisms may have been incorporated into the design from the very beginning. This possibility connects directly to one of Oak Island's oldest mysteries, the famous flood tunnel theory. For decades, investigators have speculated that a network of engineered tunnels existed beneath the island. According to the theory, these passages were designed to flood automatically whenever someone attempted to dig into protected areas. Previous discoveries at Smith's Cove have often been cited as evidence supporting this idea. Researchers uncovered channels beneath the shoreline that appeared intentionally constructed. The theory suggests that seawater could be redirected through these channels whenever a critical section of the system was disturbed, making excavation nearly impossible. When experts examined the forbidden tunnel, they found signs that seemed to support this possibility. Several stones showed patterns of wear consistent with long-term water flow. The erosion appeared directional and deliberate rather than random. To many investigators, this looked less like a natural occurrence and more like part of an engineered design. Some specialists now suspect that the tunnel may be connected to the same flood control system associated with Smith's Cove. If true, it means a single mistake could trigger water movement through the passage, potentially flooding sections of the tunnel within minutes. Even more unsettling is the possibility that parts of this ancient system may still function today. Underground channels can remain active for centuries. Because of that, experts continue to stress caution. If the flood tunnel theory proves correct, Oak Island would represent far more than a hidden treasure site. It would reveal the existence of an incredibly advanced security system, one designed hundreds of years ago to defend whatever lay hidden below. And that possibility is one reason Oak Island remains one of the world's most enduring mysteries. The idea that deadly traps may have been constructed to protect something beneath the island raises an obvious question. What could possibly have been valuable enough to justify such elaborate defenses? As exploration continued, another mystery emerged. Deep inside the tunnel, investigators noticed unusual markings carved into the stone walls. These were not random scratches created by age or erosion. The patterns appeared intentional. Some consisted of straight lines, while others formed circular or triangular shapes rarely found in natural underground formations. What attracted the team's attention most was the consistency of the markings. Although they appeared in different locations throughout the passage, their dimensions and orientation remained surprisingly similar. This suggested that they had been created according to a specific design rather than for decoration. Some of the symbols appeared to indicate direction. As a result, team members began wondering whether the markings served as guides, warnings, or instructions left behind by the tunnel's builders. Historians point out that symbols often served as communication tools in periods when written language was not widely used. It's possible that these carvings represented a coded system understood only by those who created the tunnel. If so, the markings could contain information that has remained hidden for centuries. Investigators also noticed unusual wear around certain symbols. The surrounding stone appeared smoother, as though people had repeatedly touched those areas over time. Such wear would be difficult to explain if the carvings were merely construction marks. Instead, it suggests they may have carried a specific purpose or meaning. The mystery deepened even further when metal detection equipment was brought into the tunnel. Researchers expected to encounter ordinary traces of iron. Instead, the instruments produced signals unlike anything they anticipated. In several locations, detectors registered unusually strong responses, indicating the possible presence of dense metallic material hidden beneath the surface. Follow-up scans revealed something even more surprising. Certain sections of the ground displayed density readings far greater than the surrounding area. It was almost as though a massive object or structure lay concealed underground. According to experts, normal iron deposits would typically produce different patterns. The consistency and depth of these signals suggested that the material may have been intentionally placed rather than naturally occurring. Even more intriguing was the fact that the strongest readings repeatedly appeared in the same locations. This raised the possibility that investigators were detecting not a small object, but part of a much larger buried structure. The team also observed that many of these signals were concentrated near key sections of the tunnel. That discovery aligned with theories suggesting the metal may have been used either to reinforce the passage or to protect something hidden within it. The connection between the metal anomalies and the flood tunnel theory was difficult to ignore. Most alarming of all was the distribution of the readings. They were not limited to a single point. Similar anomalies appeared throughout multiple sections of the tunnel, hinting at an extensive interconnected system beneath the island. At that moment, many investigators realized they might be looking at something far bigger than a simple underground passage. With each new discovery, emotions inside the team became increasingly intense. Excitement was growing, but so was fear. Everyone understood they were entering unknown territory, and every decision carried consequences. The deeper they investigated, the more apparent it became that this moment could redefine everything they believed about Oak Island. No one felt that pressure more than Rick Lagina. As the person responsible for the final decisions, he found himself caught between two powerful realities. One suggested that the team was closer than ever to uncovering a historic truth. The other reminded him that the safety of everyone involved depended on the choices he made. If something went wrong, the responsibility would ultimately fall on him. And that weight was becoming harder to ignore with every step deeper into the tunnel. Marty Lagina viewed the situation from a slightly different angle, though the seriousness remained the same. Unlike Rick, Marty preferred relying on evidence and logic rather than emotions. Yet even he had to admit that the uncertainty surrounding the tunnel made it impossible to guarantee safety. The facts could not provide a clear answer. Walking away seemed like the safer choice, but doing so might also mean abandoning the best chance of uncovering the truth. The rest of the team found themselves equally divided. Some investigators believed the discoveries already made were significant enough to justify moving forward. Others argued that the risks had become too severe and that pushing deeper into the tunnel could have devastating consequences. The conflict between caution and curiosity created a heavy atmosphere. Everyone was wrestling with the same difficult question. Should they stop now or continue despite the danger? This was no longer just an excavation project. It had become a test of judgment, determination, and courage. The emotional strain surrounding the decision made it one of the most challenging moments in Oak Island's long history. As more information emerged, another intriguing possibility began to surface. What if this location had been intentionally erased from history? And if those answers are finally uncovered, the impact may reach far beyond this small island. Because what is revealed next may not simply solve one of history's greatest mysteries, it could force history itself to be rewritten.